What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Crime Center. So today I'm going to be talking about Scrappy. A bunch of the people who follow me have heard of him before. I've mentioned him before. Today I'm going to say a little story about him. If you haven't heard about him or if you haven't caught the reference, go back and watch my video called The First 24 Hours in Prison. And like always, excuse me because I have the windows open, so you're going to hear cars passing by. It's a nice night outside. See what I'm talking about? But anyways, so let me bring a bunch of people up to par on things because a lot of people might not know. This might be your first time watching my channel, whatever. So back when I did prison time from 2004 to 2014, the white people usually got picked on. There either wasn't enough of them on a dorm, or the majority of them didn't want to fight, so they got the reputation of being weak, and therefore they got picked on, they got extorted, whatever. They didn't have anything coming in there. It was horrible. And I felt bad for the people because I've never been the type of person that dislikes somebody just because of their color of their skin. But when you get to prison, especially here in Texas at that time, they were going to make you like that. You don't really have a choice. You're going to go in there, you're going to program, you're going to get with the politics, and you're going to do what you have to do. And anybody who ever says that they didn't do that, or that they were bigger than the program, or that they did what they want to do, that's a lie. I guarantee you they either got beat up or smashed out off the dorm and sent to PC. Simple as that. One person is not bigger than a huge gang. One person is not bigger than a huge tongo. So stop lying. That's just what it is, and everything was racially divided, and that's how you acted. So Scrappy, I first met him one time on a dorm. I think it was C dorm. Very small, skinny, frail looking guy. I always wondered why they called him Scrappy, because sometimes in prison you see people with nicknames and it's just to be like, it's like ironic. Like a huge dude would be called tiny. A tiny dude would be called something huge. You know what I mean? It was always the opposite. So when I heard Scrappy, I always thought in my head that was funny, like Scrappy, but this dude's missing teeth. Like he doesn't look like he could fight himself out of a paper bag. But I got to know the guy. He was a cool guy. We've sat down before, we've talked. You know, he was a really good, awesome dude. I didn't see anything wrong with this guy, but in prison, that's not a good thing. In prison, that'll get you beat up. That'll get your stuff taken from you. You'll be looking crazy as hell. In prison, you have to carry some form of viciousness. You have to be heartless, I guess you can say. That's just the way that it is. That's what's going to help you survive. That's the way it is. So the first time that I ever saw somebody step up and puff their chest out to Scrappy, I was thinking, oh, they're just going to go under the stairs, they're going to beat Scrappy up, and that'll be the end of it, right? No, they didn't go under the stairs. Scrappy told the guy, wait till they open the cell door, so that way the guards can't see us and we don't tell on each other, and we can do what we do in the room. And I remember thinking, like, damn, if this dude gets stuck in there, he's out of there. Why would he want to do that? But it also made me curious too. I was like, somebody who knows that they're a victim and are going to get beat up, they're not going to make themselves go in a cell to be trapped. I was trapped in a cell before, and lucky for me, it worked out from my end, but it's not a good feeling. If you're fixing to get into a fight and you hear that cell door close behind you, this is turned into life or death. It's nothing but cement and metal everywhere. You could really get hurt in there. You could lose your life in there. But that's what they did. They waited until they got the cell door open. The guard came around, did their quick little count, and then they walked out. And they had both went inside the dorm. As soon as people told them, hey, the guard's gone, you could hear it. And it's very easy to tell when somebody's fighting. You hear the squeaking of the shoes. You hear the pounding of the flesh. You hear the walls being banged into. You hear the metal toilets being hit. You hear the steel table. You can hear everything. But it's especially because of the fist on flesh and the shoes on the floor. You can tell somebody's fighting. And the thing about it is when people hear that, everything gets quiet and everybody's cutting their eyes like this because they want to see what's going on, but they don't want to tell. We hear that for the longest time. I know everybody's thinking Scrappy's going to come out of this room tore up. When everything's finally done, they take a little break. Somebody gets the door pop. Scrappy comes out. Scrappy looks like he has nothing wrong with him at all. Not a scratch, not a bump, not a bruise, not any kind of color, because white dudes, they bruise up quick. You can tell when they've been hit by anything. You see all kinds of colors on them. But he had nothing. The way he went in is the way he came out. He had wrapped up his fist with little strips of a tore up sheet, like little gloves. And when the other guy came out, he looked like he got into a fight with a bobcat. This dude had bumps and bruises and scratches and red marks. Anything you could think of, he had it. He looked beat up. Remember, Scrappy's a skinny little white guy. Doesn't look like he's a buck soaking wet. Other dude was a white guy, but he was bigger. He had some weight to him. He looked like he could handle Scrappy easy. Scrappy beat the hell out of this dude. And for whatever reason, that pissed off the white guys even more. White guys still have their little gangs in there. They're just, they can't do nothing. They don't have enough people. They don't have enough people with balls. Let's just say it like that. Because, like I said, a bunch of the white dudes don't want to fight. They're not brought up that way. They don't grow up wanting to do that. They don't have to. They grew, well, not all of them, but some of them grow up in nice houses, nice neighborhoods, good families. They do something stupid, they get locked up, and they're in an environment that they've never thought they would be in. And because of that, they're not built for that type of environment. But then you have some that definitely are. You have some that have grown into that role. But Scrappy wasn't part of this gang. The dude that he beat up was part of the gang. And the rest of the gang didn't like that this small, skinny little guy made one of their bigger dudes look crazy, like embarrassed him. Embarrassed. So a couple of days later, they end up doing, forget what it's called. But anyway, the simplest way to explain it is they move people around. The unit gets changed up every now and then. And it happened where I was one of the ones that got moved with another guy that I was cool with, and then some random dudes I'd never talked to. Pack your bags, you're going to B dorm. We pack up our bags, off we go to B dorm. People who are on B dorm, pack your bags, they came to C dorm. They kind of like just switch people up. I guess the classification's trying to make everything more compatible so there's less problems. You know what I mean? I don't know, it's weird. They do it. And we get moved. And that usually goes in waves. You'll have the first little group go, first little group come, and then later on after chow or whatever, after lunch, you have another group. So anyways, Scrappy ends up coming in there as well. And me and the dude that I was cool with, who had already known about that fight, we were wondering what was going to happen, because when he walked in, there was more of the white gang members in there than there was where he was at the first time. Where we were at the first time. And they had already been saying that whenever they get a hold of him, they're going to whoop him. Like I said, he embarrassed that guy. He embarrassed them. One little white guy. And you could already tell they're looking at this dude, mean mugging in the back. A lot of these dudes have some size on them, all tatted up everywhere. They look a lot meaner And they look more gangster than a lot of the people on the unit, right? But looks can be deceiving. And not saying that they weren't more gangster, it's just Scrappy was more about that life. One white guy walks up to this dude, and we're fairly close. I can't hear everything, but I hear a couple of things. In other words, they want to look at him. And it's because he embarrassed their little family, right? So he tells them, whatever y'all want to do, let me put my stuff up. If y'all want to do it, let's open that cell door, and y'all can come in there one at a time, and we'll handle it. They can't say no. They have to say yes now. Damn near everybody just heard that. You're calling out this entire group that wants to jump you, but you're saying, come in the cell, we'll all go one-on-one. One comes in, we'll handle our business. Another one comes in, I'll backdoor every single one of y'all, basically, right? They can't say no now. Otherwise, they look super weak. They already have that name of being weak because a lot of the white dudes won't fight. They can't look more weak than they already do. So they say, okay. Doors open, wide open. Guards not paying attention. They make a little line right outside that door, standing against the wall. There's probably like 6 of them. First guy goes in. You hear that same noise again. Skirt, 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 skirt. Fist on flesh, banging into the wall. Cement smacking. Steel table ringing. The guy comes out. This dude looks purple and blue. Next guy goes in. You hear the same noises. Ta 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 ta. Shoe squeaking. He comes out. His eyeballs balled up. Another guy comes in there. Same thing for all of these dudes. And each one of these dudes came out beat up. Scrappy maybe had a couple of marks on him. Nothing serious. He had to point it out first to know it was there, damn near. He beat up each of these 6 dudes that went into that dorm by themselves. They thought they were embarrassed the first time. They were embarrassed the second time. These grown men who call themselves gangster, who are in a family, got beat up by a dude that looks like a living twig. Missing teeth, small little head, probably not even 5'5". He beat every one of their ass up. And it wasn't just barely, he beat them up. Remember I told you earlier that white dudes, they get all kinds of colors when they get beat up? These dudes had all kinds of colors. They look like the rainbow flag. They looked like they were having Pride Month. They got beat up. They got embarrassed. Them dudes never said another word to Scrappy. Scrappy already had respect from a bunch of people who already knew him. But the ones that didn't know him, personally, like me, I wasn't close to him. I knew of him. I've talked to him a few times. But the ones who thought that he was some weak little skinny white boy found out that day exactly why they called him Scrappy. That name was not for nothing. That name was earned. That name he had spilled blood to get. He had given bruises to achieve. He worked for that. Like if he was going to a job, working every day for that paycheck, except this was for his honor. This was for his respect. He beat the hell out of them dudes. And I've always remembered Scrappy through all the stories that I could remember and say or tell. I've always wanted to say that one about Scrappy because I still remember that guy. And if you know the situation that I'm talking about, and your name is Scrappy, and you know that it's you that I'm talking about, what's up, man? I've always had a whole bunch of respect for you. You might not even know who I am. You might not remember me. And that's a good thing because I like to keep my identity, just to me and my family. That's it. I don't need any of that drama that YouTube sometimes brings. And there's just a bunch of haters out there. But much respect to you. And I'll never forget, be careful when you hear somebody's nickname. It was either given as to be a funny joke, or it was earned in blood. Anyways, I thank everybody for coming and watching. As always, y'all are the best. Y'all are the reason why I keep doing this. I love to entertain. I love to get subscribers. I love the likes. I love the love. So go ahead and show me some love. Don't forget, it's all free. You don't got to pay nothing. It don't cost you nothing but a second. Boop, hit that button, the like, subscribe, and the notification bell. The notification bell, push all, so that way you'll be notified every single time I come out with a video. Every time I go in and look at the analytics on my video, it says that 70% of the people who watched never subscribe or like. That's pretty sad. I'm just a little guy. Maybe I could become a big guy one day. I can't do it without y'all. I know there's going to be haters out there that don't like me for no damn reason at all. They don't want to support me. But if you're just one of the guys that honestly forgets because you watch and you just keep swiping, help me out. I'm trying to get to my first 1,000. I'm trying to get up there, you know what I mean? And I can't do it without y'all, and I appreciate y'all, and I love each and every one of y'all. My main goal is to tell good stories and to keep people out of prison. If I can help just one person, then my job is complete. I've always wanted to help people. If there's ever anything you need to talk about, hit me in the comments, and then we can private message. If you need to get stuff off your chest, if you just need to say something, I'm here to help. I always will be. I'm the one that answers all the comments. I'll answer every single comment, unless I accidentally forget one. I've done that once and it made me feel bad. But thanks each and every one of you for coming and watching. Until next time, like always, stay tuned.